What's up, comic book community? It's Jeff A13 with Jay Ferguson. Introducing Jay Ferguson.
Hello.
And I have Robert the comic book G-Spot Galvin with me. So guys, I'm actually going to interview Jay about how he got into art, how he did this comic book airbrushing in general, like generalized questions pretty much, guys. Like how he got into doing stuff like this, pretty much. Yeah. So
straight fire, first straight fire.
yeah. So like, Jay, how did you get into airbrushing in general?
I started. I got into it way back in high school. I think I was 16 or 17 when I started airbrushing.
Okay.
And I forgot to turn off my phone. Sorry about that.
It's all good. I like that.
You're good.
Old Spice.
Yeah.
Jeff,
you're
can
good.
you put it the screen so we can see all three of us?
Yeah.
So showing his. There you go. So you're showing his work. There you go.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah. So like, I started getting like really heavy into art back in high school when I was a teenager, and I'm not a friend, but there was a guy I knew at the school, and he had a leather jacket with this White Snake album cover airbrushed on the back of it. And I was just kind of fascinated by it. I was like, fuck, that looks so cool. So I ended up buying an airbrush, and here I am. That's my story. Yeah.
And there was a previous interview you did I overheard that you were into like airbrushing bikes for a little while. Like
yeah, I mean, not for a little while. I was airbrushing bikes for 20 years as a full-time job. Yeah, I've only been in the I was a high school dropout, pretty much. I went into business full-time as an artist, airbrushing. I was 20 years old, set up my own business, and I ended up doing custom murals on bikes for almost 20 years. And it's only been like the last 5 years that I transitioned from that, going into the fine art world, and doing gallery shows and doing comic covers and whatnot.
Right.
That's why it's kind of funny. Like there's a lot of people like they're kind of shocked by some of my artwork, and they think that I came out of nowhere, when that's really not the case. Like I've been doing this since 1994 as a career.
See, like I didn't know you were in the industry for that long, like since '94. So that's pretty cool to actually know that you were in the industry since '94. I mean, art industry in general in '94. So
yeah, I mean,
cool.
Way before the days of the internet. Like
right.
Yeah, but I did custom bikes. I've been in a lot of motorcycle magazines. I've been I did a lot of work for the NHL, doing goalie masks on and off over that time. Like I did the New York Islanders, I did the Montreal Canadiens, Pittsburgh Penguins, St. Louis Blues. I did work for them over the years. And then I just sick and tired of, the custom world is great. It's really good. Money. It's fantastic money, but you get to a point in your life where you just kind of get tired of it. Like you can only paint so many bikes before you say, I got to do something different. Like this is just not working for me. Because now with what I do, it's pretty much what I want to do. In the motorcycle industry, you can do your own vision to an extent, but for the most part, you're working off what the customer wants to a T.
Sure.
Like, I want X, Y, and Z painted on my bike. You got to do that. Like now I have the freedom to say, I'm going to do whatever I want. And that's that,
All right. What's the weirdest thing you painted on a bike?
I know the weirdest thing. Okay, I had many years ago. There was a guy, real hardcore biker. He his wife was a stripper. Like she had a stage routine. It was almost like a Red Sonja routine. Like she would come out with chainmail lingerie and this big sword and metal music playing, and she had
right.
And they had this bike, and that was his second wife. So he had bought this brand new Harley for her for the stage show that she could ride the bike in onto the stage before she does her routine.
Wow.
And he wanted it all painted up, and basically it was different poses of her, like kind of iconic poses, like Frazetta type kind of artwork on it. And but on the front fairing, it was her holding the cut off head of the guy's first wife.
Nice.
And on the trunk of the bike, on the tour pack, this is the weirdest thing I've ever had to paint. This is a rated R show, right?
Yeah, man. Go right, yeah. Free
right,
speech,
so
man. Go right ahead.
He wanted on the tour pack, it was a mural of a vagina, like a V8 vagina with big wheels on it, being chased by a V8 cock with big wheels.
Man.
That by far and away was the weirdest thing I've ever. And she was very specific. She's like, I want wiry pubic hair coming off everything. I was like,
okay,
boy, but money's money.
Right. Yep. Right. All right, Jay. Any artist, any past artists that inspire you? Any like recent artists that really inspire you to keep continuing your art in general? Yeah.
Like way back in the early days when I started getting into art, I was a big fan. Well, I still am a big fan of all of them, but Salvador Dali for sure. H.R. Giger.
I was just gonna say something like that. I was gonna ask
Giger. Anything aliens related. When I first saw Giger's work, like my jaw just hit the floor.
Yes.
Like, whoa! This is not even human. Like,
no.
Yeah, because where I'm from in Canada, we getting access, especially way back in the day, like access to artwork was kind of limited. So I ended up going to a record shop and I bought a Celtic Frost album, like the old vinyl record, because it had an H.R. Giger painting on it.
Yep.
And I ended up getting that framed and hanging it on my wall when I was a teenager, just so I could have a Giger piece hanging in my room.
Sure.
Yeah, there was that. Big inspirations. Luis Royo for sure. I was into Fastener and Larson back then. Olivia, the pinup artist Olivia, she's always been a huge influence. Like I love her pinups. Those are kind of like the classic painters. And nowadays, God, there's so many painters that inspire me.
I know we were talking beforehand. I know Perillo's one of the ones that really inspire you. I know that.
Yeah, definitely. And especially within the comic book world, I think his work is just, that's about as good as it gets, as far as I know. Yeah, like I'm kind of hesitant to name off too many painters because I don't want to leaving anybody out. But I mean, you got David Stupakis, you got Christopher Lavelle, Anthony Champ. And if you're not familiar with these people's their work, like by all means hit them up on Instagram and look them up. Like jaw-dropping work. There's so many painters. Nen Chang, I love her style. It's very unique.
Real quick, shout out to the chat that's here. Steve Whitey's in the house. Yo, brother. We have Discovery Bay. He's in the house.
Hey.
Gnome Presents is in the house. Thank you, everybody, for showing up today.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Sorry.
Let's see.
Go ahead, buddy.
No, you're good. Yeah. All right. Are you into any airbrush artists, like besides yourself?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of really good airbrush artists, and again, you know, it's not like I want to say somebody
right.
better than somebody else, but
Right.
you know, you got guys like Corey St. Clair.
Right.
He's a portrait artist, just phenomenal work. God, you know, yeah, there's so many, but yeah, what you mainly find, like in same, it applies to me for years. Like the majority of the airbrush industry itself, it's all tightly woven into the custom industry, like bikes and cars and whatnot. Like not a lot of you don't see a lot of full airbrush pieces in like kind of the fine art world or the comic book world.
Besides your own, I mean, is all your stuff like full airbrush, or is it like by strokes by?
It's 99.9% airbrush. Everything I do.
Okay.
You have to find it pretty impressive when you watched, if you watched any of the documentaries for Geiger, how he did that just free-handedly in his mind, just on a big canvas. You're watching the older ones. It was amazing. So that's kind of like what you do when you get an airbrush in your hand. It's just like a stroke. You're right away seeing the image in your head and doing it, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Like I don't use, you know, I'll do a rough sketch and I just start painting it. There's no Photoshop layouts. There's no
What in your
no tape, no masking, no stencils. It's all freehand. Everything I do.
Sorry, Steve. Go ahead. Jeff, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, everybody's been digging your like Harley, like your Harleys, your Poison Ivies, like you've the two were those commissions that you did, the Harley and the Poison Ivy you did recently?
No, those were just pieces for the hell of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know a lot of
you do.
A lot of people were a lot of people was digging your Harley for sure, because I put out I asked if I could put out some of your art, like everybody was like over like 20 to 30 people were digging that Harley. Like everybody goes, who's this artist that did this Harley?
Yeah.
Like
I sold that piece pretty fast.
Yeah. I kind of figured it would. She's one of the popular characters, you know what I mean? One of the really popular characters right now. So not surprised.
That's kind of my joy of doing like the pinups, like especially comic pinups. Like the fun of it for me is, you know, working like working with a model for reference and to make it, keep it to the classic comic character with their outfits, but make it look very like as if Harley's standing in front of you. Like this is what she was real. Or Poison Ivy. Like that's, if she was in front of you, that's what I think she like.
Right. But that's my favorite piece of yours is like the Vampirella, but my second favorite is that Poison Ivy for sure. That Poison Ivy is one of my favorites, man.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Like that's why I asked, like I asked if that was gonna be a print. That's the whole reason I asked, because I can't afford his original one.
Yeah, it will be a print. I usually I don't sell prints of a work until the original is sold.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. So
that's good to know. That's just a business move, because you know, if you have the print and the original available, people will buy the print if they can save a lot of money. So
right. Well, this is a question from the community, like from our little community we call it the comic book community. Is everybody wants to know what your commission prices are, like what you charge for like certain sizes of commission, like depending on like if it's a canvas piece or if it's a.
You should go to his website to find out. He doesn't have to tell him right here.
yeah, I know.
Well, in general, like to give like just a real super basic breakdown, standard, you know, comic book pinup 11 by 17, you're looking anywhere between 500 to 1,000, and that all depends on if it's going to be black and white, if it's going to be color, and how complex the piece is going to be. But I mean, it can go way up from there, and it can go. It won't go any lower than 500. I really won't. Less than.
Right.
He's an artist, Jeff.
Yeah, I know, but this was a general. This was a question I got asked when I put out. When I got
Totally fair question. Totally fair.
Yeah. Question. I wish you would have put his website in the. Is there a way you can put his website in the chat?
I already put it in the link.
Awesome.
I already put it in the link.
Good. I was going to ask.
Good. Yeah.
I already put it in.
If you Google Jay Ferguson, it'll come up.
Well, it does. It comes up with you, and then it comes up with the music artist on top of that. If you don't put like comic book artist or
I like to play with that and say we're the same guy.
So, I love it. Yeah. I get him.
I had him. He was my profile picture on Facebook for a while. So.
Nice.
Yeah. It made me laugh because I'm like, okay, but yeah, because I was looking it up, like I previously looked up, like, oh yeah, the previous interview you did, like you've only did, like I've noticed you only did like maybe one interview, if that, on YouTube in general.
You should feel privileged, Jeff. Look at
I'm privileged. I am privileged.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, there was one question of like I wanted to ask is, do you have a favorite comic book character? Like, if you
I'm curious.
Favorite comic book character.
Does he like comic books? How about that?
Not as much as you guys do. I'll be honest and say that. No. I was big into them when I was a kid. As an adult, the one comic I actually still will read to this day is The Punisher.
Nice.
Okay.
Big fan of The Punisher, and like the TV show, I thought was unbelievable. I was kind of ticked off it got canceled. I hope they bring it back in some form because it was so good.
Yes.
But I'm a huge Punisher fan, like just the character in general, Punisher. I've always been a Batman fan, but definitely number one for me is Punisher. And I think for me, that's just because he's just a guy. Like, he's just a normal guy, and that for me is the love of the character. Like it's relatable to anybody, you know.
Totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, to be honest, I really don't read a lot of comics, which is kind of funny doing comic book covers. But yeah.
All right. How did you get into doing comic book covers?
I
know it's a pretty simple story, but
it's a very simple story. I got a message saying, "Hey, do you want to paint Vampirella?" I was like, "I know Vampirella. Sure, cool."
Yeah. So this, Jay, this wasn't your first Vampirella cover, right? This is your fourth or third, something like that, right?
Yeah. That I think is the fourth. Yeah, because the very first one was of Ireland, a lot more bloody. I remember. Yeah, that was Vampirella, Red Sonja meets Betty and Veronica. That was
issue one, I think.
Yeah, issue one. Then I had issue one of Red Sonja Vampirella. Then I had issue one,
like
the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, you mean this one, the other one, the other cover you were talking about.
Yeah, the 50th anniversary is the one where she's in the pool with all the skulls. Yeah. That last one, the Ireland Reed cover, that was number 4.
Yeah. So, like I said, I saw, like, I'm a big, like, Robert can tell you, anybody in this community can tell you, I'm a big Vampirella fan. They all know that. I'm a huge Vampirella fan. So when I saw, you're like that first one cover I did, like I told you the story, like I freaking had it in the cart at Frankie's, and then about to enter everything to buy it. It sells out. I'm like, damn it.
Biggie Shack's in the house. Nice to see you, buddy. Thank you for being here.
What's up, guys? Just interviewing Jay Ferguson here, man. Just hanging out, interviewing him, like just hanging out, shooting the shit, pretty much. With Jay.
Yeah,
Pretty
that
much.
really that blew my mind when that very first issue went on sale. How it sold
Yeah.
out so fast, because just being a little unfamiliar with how the industry works.
That was my next question. I was going to ask that question. It's kind of on the same subject. As an artist, what is it like when it comes to corporations like Marvel, DC, any of those corporations that do as an artist, to you to make a living to doing your art on their covers? What kind of credit do you get? How does that work? Tell the public about not the aspect of your financial, part of it, but to make a living as an artist can be very difficult, especially when a lot of people don't know you and everybody's got their own style. What I'm asking is, I've noticed a lot of artists, really good artists out there, they kind of stretch themselves out thin and they're doing cover for this person, this company, this company, this company. How challenging is that for you? Is it, or is it very competitive, that kind of thing? You get my point?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I went off a couple questions there. Sorry about that.
For
No,
me,
you're good.
It's I can only speak to it to a very small extent, really.
Yep.
Working with Dynamite,
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. Like I've had no issues whatsoever. Really, like there's every cover I've done, there's been no approval process. Like I have literally just emailed them the artwork and said, there it is. And
Nice.
like, cool.
That's good. That's cool. So
Yeah.
it kind of gives you a little creative freedom there. That can
Totally. Like complete creative freedom with Dynamite. Like I cannot speak to do work for Marvel or DC or Image or anyone else for that matter. Like I can't personally speak to that because I haven't done it.
Sure.
Like I'm hoping there might be some DC work in the future.
Yeah. That's awesome.
There's something working on that. But, Dynamite, great company to work for. I don't find any kind of competitiveness doing it at all.
That's
especially
good.
with other artists. I mean, the only issues I've ever had, and I'm not going to name names or tell stories, but I have had one encounter with another very, very well-known artist.
Yeah. And
all I can say is, dude really needs to get on some medication because, like, serious.
I can get it.
I know the one particular guy kind of has a little bit of a reputation apparently for being that way. But yeah. But other than that, I mean, nothing competitive. If anything, I could say any of the other artists that I've encountered, talked to, dealt with have all been very, very friendly, very nice, very supportive. Like
that's good.
Definitely no competition, at least at this stage of the game for me.
Right.
Plus, what I'm doing, what I do is variant covers. Like,
sure.
And I'm sure that's a different thing. So, to hear that, for you to say, like, there's a lot of artists doing different variant covers, and I know that there is, like, doing covers for a lot of different publishers.
Sure.
It's, if you're an established artist and they give you kind of the creative freedom to do your work, then it's actually it's a really good way of making money.
Yeah, very rewarding.
Yeah, very rewarding because it pays well. Good. Like I know a lot of people will say the comic book industry doesn't pay very well, and working on interior pages, that might be the case.
Yeah.
Cover work, that's not the case. Cover work pays pretty good.
Yep.
Like you get paid for the work, plus I get to keep the original painting and sell that at my own free will.
That's good.
That painting at my free will.
Cool.
So you end up one painting actually you get paid several times for it.
Yep.
Doing covers.
Nice.
Yeah, like I mean, if more different companies were kind of asking me to do work, I wouldn't say no unless it was a character that I just didn't think I could do any kind of justice towards.
Sure.
And that so actually have said no I flat out said no to doing GI Joe covers. I was asked, and that's nothing against GI Joe.
No.
Right.
They wanted some work done, and I said no. Like, I was flattered they asked, but
Yeah.
my style, especially my style, like, it's really, I border on two things. It's kind of horror related and very erotic.
Yep. I noticed that.
There's really no in between for me to have
Right,
like
right.
Joe character. It's not work for me.
Right.
I gotcha.
All right. Which you already said, but you said you would be working with something's coming up with DC. But if you had to pick a publisher to work with, and I know Punisher's one of your favorites, would you, if they asked you to do a Punisher cover, would you actually do that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And actually, pretty much every painting that I do is of a woman.
Right.
Yeah. If they wanted me to do Punisher just because of my love of the character, I would do that.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's see.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Right. All right. Something I've noticed with artists throughout the years, and there's a few I like, and one you mentioned with H.R. Geiger, for example. Do you like reading books in general?
When I have the time, yeah.
When you have time, do you like anything with H.P. Lovecraft?
I've dabbled
A little bit.
but
Yeah.
That's about it, to be honest with you.
Okay. Because I've noticed, I'm going to go there, Steve. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go there.
Hey, you're good.
Here's what I'm thinking. So, as a creative artist, and I've noticed this with some of the works that are out there, have you noticed some of the inspirational ideas? When you come up with an idea, it's right here. You see it, you do it, right?
Right.
Kind of like that. And that's how you see your vision. Because there's a lot of different visions of other artists out there that will see something. But something I've noticed as an example, through book covers, through comic book covers and stuff like that. And one of these classic Cthulhu character, you know the Cthulhu character?
Yeah.
All right. I notice how it's like subliminal and don't even realize it, but you see it in movies a lot. You see it in comic book art a lot. The tentacle creatures, the tentacle is always a reference to H.P. Lovecraft's story of Cthulhu. And I've noticed a lot of artists put it in their paintings or they'll put it in their drawings. I was wondering if you ever noticed anything like that, if you get my point. Does it make any sense what I'm talking about?
Like, do I notice that in my own work?
Yeah. Do you ever see that in general in art when you're looking at art? How do you see art? That's what I mean. Like the things that you want to see. You notice those little references in the artwork.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely see references in art.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of goes two ways. You get people that are kind of just purposely giving a nod to that reference, like whether it be Lovecraft or whatever kind of tone that they're hitting on in the piece. But they're quite purposely saying, like a little nod to this. And then on the other hand, I think it's people are very oblivious to the fact that they're doing it.
Yeah.
Just because even with Lovecraft, like if you're really ingrained in Lovecraft's work, kind of on a subconscious level, it's always going to be in your head.
Yeah.
Which is, and I know with me, and I found that over the years, like if you're watching, one show, or you stick to one kind of genre of movies or whatnot, you kind of get a little piece of it gets stuck in your head, and that will come out in your work, especially as an artist. It'll definitely come out in your work, and that's without you even thinking about it.
Yep.
That's why I kind of go out of my way to, I don't watch TV at all.
Okay.
Like the morning news to get the weather and traffic, and that's it. I don't watch.
Sound like me.
I'll treat myself. If a show like The Punisher's on, I'll treat myself and I'll watch that. But that's it. I listen music. I listen to everything from A to Z. Like I try to keep everything that surrounds me. I try to keep very open so that it's not always just kind of one thing looming over me. That's
like I always say, a little Heinz 57,
a
little Heinz 57.
Yeah,
exactly. Everything. I like that. That's pretty cool.
That actually gets into this other question I had. What type of music do you listen to, Jay, when you actually start painting? Like, or do you listen to everything?
It really it entirely depends on, well, two things: the mood I'm in and the piece that I'm working on. Like, I mean, I don't, like, right off the bat, I don't listen to, like, I don't know, pop music. There's no,
that one out.
None of that's coming through on the stereo, but I do listen to a lot of metal, and there's 90s metal, there's new metal, there's but I'll listen to a lot of just like chill music, just beats.
Nice.
Or even just like really dark piano music I'll have playing in the background. Like it really depends. Like if I'm working on like a super, super dark portrait,
right,
like just having kind of like a really dark humming piano in the background, it gets you in the mindset, like for me when I'm painting.
Very cool.
But, you know, if I'm working on a pinup, I'll just listen to something really loud and fun. And,
okay.
You know.
Nice.
Yeah, like that was one of the questions, like how you set up your art, like getting ready to do your art, like how you
mood.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, how you set yourself up to do art in general, like your comic covers, pinups, or like whatever it is.
Yeah, I work kind of weird because any painting I do, like there'll be like kind of the main portrait,
right?
And even with that, I'll have a rough idea in my head. I do like just a really light sketch, but I've been doing this for a very long time. Like I'll just let it unfold as I go. Like there is no, I don't have
pretty
it.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't have a final vision in my head at all. It just kind of comes together as I go.
That's something that sounds really interesting about you, Jeff. You seem to be very free-spirited. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're free. Yeah, Jay, free. Like us, all of us are free spirited.
Anybody control what your vision is, what you like, except yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that for me, that's kind of the way it just has to be that way. That's the only way that it can work. You know?
Sure. I agree.
That's why even like with commissions, I know at times I can kind of frustrate people when they're trying to get a commission from me because, you know, they'll want whatever character, and I'll say that's fine as long as I can do if I'm into the character, I'll do it as long as I can do it in style. But then they'll say, okay, but can you have this kind of coloring? Can you add background to it? And I'll just put the brakes on it and say, no, like I'll do the character my way, and either you take it or leave it.
That's what I like about this guy already, Jeff.
Yeah, I know. He's us. He's pretty much us.
That's what I like right there. What he just said.
Right.
I had sent out, as an example, 2 blank covers of one of my favorite characters, Morbius Living Vampire, to 2 artists out in the community. And I told them this: I don't want you to copy anything. I don't want you to, think what you've seen already out there. I want you to use in your own mind what you see him as a character. Do it in your own style. You're a different artist. And there's 2 different artist styles. This is one of them. This is by the art chemist. He did this piece for me. And he's got 2 of the covers. And another buddy of mine did this Silver Surfer up here, a blank cover. And he's got 2 pieces. So, and I told them both, take your time. When you're feeling creative, knock yourself out, no rush. And come up with your own vision. And I'm going to tell you something, Jeff. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Mr. Ferguson, is that what would you like to be called? That way I can identify you both.
Just call me Jay. Jay.
Jay?
Jay.
Yeah.
Jay, gotcha, Jay. Sorry, Jay.
No problem.
So the cool thing is that's what I really like. If you are paying a commission, I want them the artist to do it in their own way, because there's something about that artist you like. Like I noticed some of your pieces on your website, beautiful work, and it's right up my alley. Sorry, Jeff, but it is.
No,
work
it's
awesome.
off our alley. It's horror. You know what I mean? We're both horror. You know, horror and pinups. But Jay, one other question I want to ask is, all the stuff on Instagram, is that all your work, or is that just some of it, some of your work?
Oh, yeah, that's that's like a very small fraction of
Right. Okay.
A lot of work I do not post like on social media. Just
right, because we were talking about this offline, but you get major backlash. You were telling me,
like a lot of work I do is, you know, nudes, and
right.
Social media, whether it be Instagram or Facebook, even though it's considered artwork and by their guidelines, you're supposed to be able to post it.
Yep.
Like if it's a nude painting or a drawing,
right?
Somebody will end up reporting it, and it gets taken down. And after that happens so many times, you get your account suspended. And I've been through that, and
it's annoying.
I just don't even bother, you know.
Right.
That can be a real challenge, and I see where you're going with that big time. Real quick, Justin Rican and Comics is in the house. Thank you, buddy. Highly a comic bro, my brother.
Hey.
We're so happy to see you guys. Thanks for being here.
All right, Jay. Would you come out with an art book, of your art? Would you create an art book in general?
I am actually I'm working on one right now, actually.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
nice.
Cool. Yeah. Can't wait for that.
Yeah. So. Before the end of the year, there will be an art book, and there will be a sketchbook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, that'd be nice. And Jay, would you ever do? I know you're not a convention guy, but would you ever do a comic convention if a comic convention actually asked you to come out?
Oh yeah, I do one for sure. Actually, I got invited to be a guest at quite a few conventions this year already, but unfortunately, every single date that they had sent me, I had something else going on. So I was like,
okay.
I'm already committed, so I can't do it.
Right.
Like if I was invited out to a convention, I would do it no problem, just as a guest artist.
Right.
To booth it's kind of difficult, being that I'm from Canada.
Right.
Like going into the US, just the whole, if I'm bringing product to sell, prints and whatnot, there's a whole lot of headaches getting over the border with that.
Right.
Not that it can't be done, but it's challenging.
I bet it is.
But yeah, so not this year. There won't be any conventions.
Okay.
But next year, odds are you're going to see me at a few.
Cool.
Okay. All right. And I know you do the pinups and stuff like that. Like, so pretty much, do you ask permission to actually have the person when you do the pinup, like Ireland Reed, any of the models that you use, pretty much?
Oh yeah. Like me and Ireland, we're pretty good friends at this point.
Right. You've actually sent her the original of one of this piece. I saw it on her Instagram.
Yeah, she owns that. Yeah, that's hers.
Yeah.
Any model that I work with, like of course, I'd never paint somebody without permission or credit. But I like to. I love working with actual models, and
right.
I mean, I get contacted from people, on Instagram or whatnot, saying if I need a model, they'd love to model, and I love that. Like, it's great to actually have like a variety of people that you can call upon and say,
nice.
"Hey, I got an idea for this really cool painting. You feel like taking some selfies of this?" And they'll do it. I've
been trying to convince my wife to do a here's what I'm trying to convince my wife. I like to have an art piece of it. My wife's a beautiful redhead, and I have boa constrictors as part of my pets, and I like to have my boa constrictor, wrapped around her. Like, I don't know if you ever remember seeing that old art print of Natasha Koninsky. She's laying on her side, and she's got a big python wrapped around her, covering all of her private parts. It was a beautiful piece.
Doesn't sound familiar, but it sounds cool.
You remember the movie Cat People with David Bowie?
Vaguely.
Vaguely. It was actually a classic. It's a really good one. Check it out.
I'll do that.
You're awesome.
All right. Yeah. All right, Jay. Do you have any favorite bands that you listen to, like heavy metal bands, anything?
Favorites: Korn, Deftones. Definitely Korn gets played more than anything else around here.
Okay.
Right. Korn's a good group. Yeah. Tacoma Comics is in the house. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Tacoma. What's the pinup model that you would really love to work with that you haven't worked with yet?
This is a good question, Jeff.
Yeah, that is a good question. Joni Brosses, I'd love to do something with her.
Okay. I mean, I know Vera Bambi's and you're the neck of the woods. Would you ever do anything if she contacted you or if you contacted her?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I'm open to working with pretty much anybody.
Right.
Especially with models, because that's one thing I really like to do too. Is, like, even if I were to paint the same character, 10, 20 times over, I don't want to be using the same model every single time.
Sure.
Right.
I want to keep every painting, new and fresh. Like, I know I've worked with Ireland a few times now, and I'll work with her again, definitely. But I don't want to work with any one person constantly. Like, you don't want your work to always look repetitive.
Sure.
Yeah, but I mean, for that matter, there's really no model that I would say no to.
Right. What's a character? What's a comic book character that you really want to do that you haven't done yet?
You mentioned the Punisher already.
Yeah, I'd like to paint the Punisher. Like I said, I'd do that if they wanted work done, like a cover piece.
Sure.
Right.
Just a character to paint just for the hell of it that I've never done. Maybe Spawn. Like, I've never done Spawn. I think Spawn would be kind of fun to paint.
Cool.
I have one that you may fit with. Lady Death. I actually wouldn't mind seeing Lady Death airbrush cover from you. Like,
yeah, I'd really like to do something with Lady Death, and there could be maybe something down the road with that. Maybe even in, not too sure, but yeah, I'd love to.
Right. Yeah, because that's the one character I think you would fit with the most, and then Brian's probably gonna he uses Don, Don Mateague, like a lot of Canada artists. So I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if he contacts you eventually. If somebody shows you his work, some of your work to him. So I wouldn't be surprised if you get contacted by Brian at all, saying, "Hey, what are you Lady Death cover eventually?"
I'd love to do Lady Death. Definitely right up my alley to do something like that.
Yeah, and I think you would fit. I think you would fit in with that team really well too. I believe, man. Like,
yeah, they seem like Brian seems like a really nice guy, like in general, to work with. He seems like he'd be good to work with. Yeah.
Noam Presents says something in the chat really quick. It says,
I could bring up the chat if you want.
there you
If
go,
you want to
buddy,
see
do
it.
that. There you go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh,
That's funny. That's funny.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like So this is another one. What's one of your? Do you have any favorite horror movie? I know you don't watch TV or what. Do you watch movies in general? Do you have a favorite horror movie?
Favorite. Ooh. Oh.
What's the genre you like out of horror movies? How about that?
That's easier, I would think.
Even that, I'm all over the place. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I have a love for old slasher films. You know, I love zombie movies.
Okay.
Some of the older, like the original Nightmare on Elm Street's huge fan of the Hellraiser franchise.
Nice.
And I do like the entire Hellraiser franchise, even the latest Hellraiser. I thought was very well done. Yeah, the only thing that I don't really get into is kind of like the super gore for the sake of gore, like the Saw movies. I really don't care for them.
Right.
Story wise, the first Saw was good, but the rest of them to me was just, it was a bloodbath to make money.
Yep.
All right, Jay, have you ever drawn any of the slashers in general? I know you've drawn Pinhead, but have you drawn like Freddy, Jason, any of those?
Yeah, I've done Jason. I did Freddy many years ago.
Was it on a bike? Was it a piece? Was it like
no? It was a canvas.
Okay.
I do usually every Halloween. I try to do a couple of pieces, just as a nod to the movies I really love. Like I did Sam from Trick or Treat. I did him. Bride of Frankenstein, Nosferatu, Boris Karloff. The Mummy.
I saw that one. That one was a really nice one, man. Like I really liked that one.
Yeah, like I Vincent Price, I really, I grew up on like the old classic horror movies, the
Universal.
The Universal monsters.
Hammer horrors, I fell in love with Elvira at a very young age.
I think we all did, man. Like Elvira. What's that other lady's name before Elvira? Vampira, yeah. Vampira. Yeah. Like. All right. Would you ever do have you done an Elvira art piece?
Yeah, I did. Again, it was a long time ago.
Many years. Right.
Maybe I think this Halloween there might be time for a new one.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, but I love to see her with a natural red hair. She's a natural redhead. She's not a brunette.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them were saying like good, like movie references and stuff like that. Like, yeah, a lot of them were saying. Yeah.
Yeah, Clive Barker did some art for a while too. I don't know if he still does it. I know he's still writing books. You like his style?
He still does art. Yeah, actually,
his style is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love his style. Actually, he had a couple of pieces at a gallery that's not too far from me that I got to see a couple of years ago, and that was really cool to actually see it in person instead of just online.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig his everything Clive Barker does. Like I love Clive Barker. I'm a huge fan.
His favorite book he ever did that I loved was called In the Flesh.
Yes.
It was an awesome book. Mini stories in it, but it was excellent. That's where Midnight Meat Train came from, and a couple other stories.
Yeah. Like I said, I think he's brilliant. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I already asked what's the weirdest piece you've done on a bike. Have you done a weird piece for like a commission piece yet? Like art piece? Like a really weird one?
Really weird? No. Nothing I consider really weird. Yeah, like I said, I've been at the stage now for a while. Right. Like I don't I get asked to do all kinds of stuff, and the majority of it I just say no. Like I have no interest in.
Right.
If you're not feeling it, no. You're not interested in it, no.
And I have no problem saying no. And
that's good.
I don't think any artist should. Like if it's not something you're comfortable doing, don't do it.
Yep. You're talking about weird pieces because my stepdaughter does digital Japanese art. And she's done anything like that. Like, she's done some really weird requests for people, and she's kind of like, "This is what you want," and they're like, "Yeah." An example: they had a woman with big breasts and the Japanese art style eyes, but they wanted it on a chicken body. You're kind of like, "What?" Yeah.
I can believe it.
Yeah, pretty different.
Yeah. Like stuff like that. Like that's what I was asking. Like any weird requests like that. Like
yeah, I get requests for it, but I just
you just say no pretty much. But
no, yeah, I like that.
I'm trying to think. Like you said, you don't read comic books much. You don't, but you read book. Like, who's your favorite writer in books? Do you have a favorite writer?
Might sound cliche, but I'd say Stephen King.
Well, you should check out Stephen King's son. If you didn't know, he actually has books.
Oh, I'm very.
Books out that.
He's got stuff too. Yeah, Joe Hill.
Yeah. Would you ever do, like, if Joe asked you to do a cover for one of his books, would you ever do one? If he ever asked you to actually do a cover for him? Like for Nosferatu, for Rock and Key?
Yeah, I mean, again, as long as it's something within my wheelhouse, then yeah, absolutely. Like there's no one that I would really say no to. Like no company, no individual would I just outright say no for who they are, or you know, if the artwork is something that I think I can do justice to, then I will do it happily. But if I don't think I can do it justice, I'll say no.
Jay, is there any other art style that you do that nobody knows that you do, like freehand, or do you do painting, like not airbrush, but like normal, like art?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do work. I can paint with a brush. I'm very proficient with a brush. That's how I started before I ever got into airbrushing. But
right.
I don't like. I mean, it's not like a secret passion project that I have or anything like that.
Right.
Like, I mean, if the electricity went out tomorrow and there was no more compressed air from my airbrush, I'd pick up a brush, but
sure.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I hope.
Right.
I don't know if you mentioned it earlier, Jay, but did you go to school or are you self-taught?
I'm definitely self-taught. I failed art in high school 2 years in a row.
You never fail art. It's all in a mind's perspective. It's all in the that's kind of ironic. I understand. You know, they have school art. You know?
Yeah, it wasn't really that I was bad at art. It's me and my art teacher just did not get along. I wasn't really I wasn't a model student when I was in school. But yeah, totally self-taught. Like, and all before the days of the internet, you know, back in the late 80s and early 90s. Like, I'm one of those guys. I have that mentality. Like, if if I want to do something, I'll figure out a way to do it no matter what. And even with art, like I want to paint, so I'm going to figure out how to paint. And I just taught myself how to paint.
Sure.
All right, Jay. What's the first character or first piece you ever did? Like ever like
Ever
like in high school? Like what was your first like actual like character that you actually sketched? I'm just curious.
wow. Actually, Spider-Man.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So, I know you did a Venom before. Have you done a Spider-Man like full canvas piece of Spider-Man yet or no?
I don't think I have. No,
I've seen that Venom, and that Venom was really nice. I read on your Instagram that Venom you did was really nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done Spider-Man. Not to say that I just might have forgotten.
Right. But would that be in your wheelhouse? Like if they wanted you to do a Spider-Man piece, if somebody commissioned you to do one, would you? I mean, you would assume you would say yes, but or no, or
that would depend. If I could do again, if I could do it my way,
right?
Yeah. If they just wanted classic Spider-Man, no.
Right. Like a Kirby type or
I like that.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
People don't understand that sometimes. I've noticed, I've heard that a lot. They'll want a commission piece, but in their own way, and you're kind of giving a kind of a limited point of view of the actual artist that's doing the work.
Well, I mean, realistically, if and this applies, I think, to any artist around the world. If you want their best work, let them do what they want to do.
Exactly.
Let them just go wild with it.
Yep.
Because whatever you see in your head, I guarantee you, is not as cool as what the artist has in their head.
Exactly.
Right. All right, Jay. This is a question for you. Who in the art world would you like to get a commission from? Since everybody wants to get a commission from you, but who would you commission to do an art piece for you?
Who would I commission?
Yeah. Who would you love to get a commission from?
Well, I know we were talking before the show.
Right.
Perillo for sure.
Right.
And after talking about it, that might be happening. God, if I had to have just completely disposable income. Again, well, yeah, I mean, literally the list would be endless if I'm
right.
Like, I do collect art. Like, I have a couple of pieces from Kevin Llewellyn here. I got an Anthony Champ painting. I got another artist, Sophia Rapata. You might not be familiar with her, but dark artist, and I'm a huge fan of her work. I got several of hers.
I will be after this interview. I will be.
Like if you're not familiar with them, look them up. Sophia Rapata. I love her work. It's great work. And God, yeah. I mean, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd have to buy like 2 houses just to have, just to hold all the artwork I would own.
Right.
All right, Jay. Any female artists that inspire you that you know?
Yeah, definitely. Oh God, definitely. Pamela Wilson, she's into photorealism, excellent artist. Liz Lopez, I'm a huge fan of her work. Dark artist, she does a lot of. She's done work for Sullen before in the past.
Okay.
Rachel Bridge, I'm a huge fan of. Kate Zambrano, portrait artist. I love her stuff. Comic book wise, Nen Chang, I love her stuff. Don McTagg, big fan. Yeah, I know I'm going to be leaving out a ton. Like again,
but
very.
I'm just asking, general question. But what was the other thing I wanted to ask? Trying to think. I'm having a squirrel moment now.
I gotta go, Jeff. But Jay, it was great meeting you. Hopefully, we can hook up sometime. And I think I'm gonna get a piece from this guy. I like his style.
I
told you would.
Awesome interview.
You would.
And Jay, you were fantastic.
All right. Well, it's good meeting you. Thank you.
You too. Have a good day.
Pretty much, Jay. That was pretty much it, man. This is how the interview goes, pretty much. I'm just like, well, it's just friends asking, questions, random questions and stuff like that. But like, honestly, it was actually great to actually hear. You got anything coming up that you want to promote? Like any event for relatives really, or anything like that, or okay.
There's definitely more covers coming, but those get announced. Like once I know when they're going to come out on stands, I'll post about it. If I was going to promote anything, I'd say if you want to own something next weekend, my website, there will be a sale next weekend, so good chance to save some money. But yeah, nothing big. There's more comic book covers, and again, every day there's new art. I'm always painting. I never stop. So. Uh-oh, did you freeze up? I think you froze up. Okay, we'll put it this way. It's been fun doing the show, fun talking to Jeff. Thanks, everybody, for listening to me rant and rave about nothing. You can follow me on Instagram at jfergusonart. You can, my website, jfergusonart.com. He's back.
Yeah, my bad.
I was filling the time. Not a problem.
Yeah. My bad, man.
Self-promotion.
Yeah. No, you're good. My internet just dropped me out for no reason. So, my bad. But that's man. That's pretty much it. Guys, I had to introduce you guys to one of my favorite airbrush artists. It was Jay Ferguson. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Pretty much before my internet drops again, I'm gonna sign us out. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. Check you guys later.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.